Hi, I'm Jeff Murrow with Healthy Marriage Tips. And today we are doing another episode in our series on adult temper tantrums. And I want to ask you a question. How do you handle adult temper tantrums? Because in all likelihood, you've come across them. And when we are faced with them, it poses some challenges. Um, Let me go ahead and start with an overview of things not to do. Because these things, although we may feel like this is a natural reaction, it ends up doing nothing but firing it up. Now, for each of these things, I went ahead and they've got an F word in them. So firing it up makes a lot of sense. Number one, fight fire with fire. When they start raising their voice and using the cuss words, if you try to match them blow for blow, insult for insult, it's going to be a problem. Because some people, we feel like if we yell louder or talk faster or use more colorful cuss words, it's actually going to get our point across. It doesn't. If anything, at those moments, communication shuts down and stops. Number two, point out their faults. As they start exhibiting their temper tantrum, it's natural to for you to just point the finger and start trying to say, well, this is what you're doing wrong, and going through a whole list of their faults. All that's going to do is get them angrier. It's not going to help things. Number three, bringing in friends and family. When you turn it into a three-ring circus and you have all kinds of people involved in the temper tantrum that aren't part of the solution, all you've done is literally spread the fire. And so you want to be careful. If anything, you want to try to contain it rather than spread it. And bringing in friends and family is a spreading behavior. Number four, force things on them. This would amount to making demands and trying to force them to do things when they're already feeling out of control. That's not the time to do it. I realize that sometimes you have to make requests and demands and things such as that. But there's a time and a place for it. And when they're in the middle of the temper tantrum, it is not the time or the place. Now, in terms of dealing with them, the solution I want to present to you are the 3 B's, almost like the Better Business Bureau, but in this case, each one is a B. First off, know when to bounce. Now, bounce is a modern term for knowing when to, for leaving a situation. So you need to know when to walk away. This means that you'll need to know your own signals and your own triggers, and when they get activated, you need to leave before you lose control. If you wait until after you lose control, you typically end up saying something that you regret later. Second B, breathe and think before you speak. Before you blurt something out, take a breath. You may need to take 2 or 3. Because when you do that and you get that oxygen in, your brain can start thinking. A lot of times when you just start, just reacting and don't stop to breathe, you can find yourself making some poor choices. Number 3, you'll need to establish barriers and boundaries. When they're starting to lose control, you're not being unrealistic to go ahead and make sure that there's a table or a chair or something like that physically between you and them. You also want to make sure that when they're angry that you do not block the door. Because if they need to escape, you want to make sure that they are able to do so. So, if they grab the car keys and they're wanting to go out the door, trying to tackle them and block them, you're asking for trouble. Now, it is okay to establish boundaries. Actually, conflicts with boundaries have a greater likelihood of being resolved. And by boundaries, there should be limits as to what can be brought up, not brought up, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, because you don't have to stay there and take the abuse. Now, this is just touching the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, in terms of dealing with the temper tantrums. There are more things that you can do. I just wanted to go ahead and get you started. And since I brought up the issue yesterday, I wanted to go ahead and talk about what you can do and also the things you want to avoid doing, because both of those are very important when you're dealing with an adult temper tantrum. So until next time, this is Jeff Murrow with Healthy Marriage Tips. If you have any comments, suggestions, feel free to leave them below. I'll be glad to get back to them. I hope you have a good week. We'll talk to you later.